Hello and welcome to this next episode in episode 3 in the series on GJS, GNOME JavaScript. And today we are going to talk about arrays, loops, JavaScript object notation and functions. I don't know if we are going to do all of it, but I will try at least. So we can start with arrays. Arrays are a special type of object. So if you don't know what an array is, you can look it up on basically Wikipedia or something like that, because I'm not going to go into detail because, well, I don't have time for it. So we're going to make a new variable here. So array equals, let's add a few values to this: ball, foo, and 1, 2, 3, and 987. That's a great. That's a few values we can have in an array. An array is indexed by the index of all of these. So the first index here, right here, the first value, or I should say, has is ball. Then we have foo, and then we have 123, and then we have 387. We're going to we can make a little script here that well, that can that will print these. We can do see here, hashbang usr ben user bin environment and GJS. That's the way we start these, and then oops, we add the executing bit to that, and we get nothing. So we know that it works, but we don't print anything. So we can print. If you print the array, we will get basically the array, the values in it. If you want to do something, if we want to print each on its own line, we can do basically R. We can do the normal for. The for loop is quite useful. So we let I index equals to 0. The condition mark is equal or less than no, actually it should be less than r dot length, and then we, and for each time we add 1. So print array of I. If we do this, we will get a segmentation fault. Oh yeah, there we go, because I have, there we go, I put a comma inside of a semicolon. That's why that didn't work. So let's go through this. We can, if we were to oh yeah, there's a comment, by the way. If we were to expand this into what it really does, we actually do this: print array, whoops, 0, and then print array 1, print array 2, and print array 3. That is what it does, what it expands to that for loop. So these, but the thing is that when we are dealing with arrays normally in JavaScript or in GJS, we cannot always know exactly what they contain. So we can do that, but it's not really efficient or really that easy to write. So if you have hundreds of objects in here, well, then we need to do this, because you cannot just type out everything in long. It would just take too much time. We can also do something like this. For no, it's a array dot for each and we have the function, a function. We're going to talk about functions later, but we're just going to function, and it takes a value v. For each value v in the array, we can print v. It does the same thing. It is little less useful, really, but it works. Then there are this is less in, but if you have really complicated functions that need to be done, this is the way to do it, basically. You can also do for each and other types of objects, but we're going to get to that later. So we're just having an introduction to arrays. So we're going to talk, and we've talked about basically a first type of loop, and the for loop. So I'm going to talk about other types of loop too. So we can do let's just comment this out. We have another type of loop. We're going to talk about a while loop. The while loop has just one thing. It's a condition that has to be met, has to be true. So if we have, say, let I equals to 0, and in the for loop we say that I must be less or equal to 10, and then we print I, and then we add to I. I would remove that. What? Just before statement. Oh, let, not len. Excuse me. Let. We iterate over every one of them. This is equal. This is actually exactly the same as for I. Let j equals to 0. That's the first condition here, the first thing here. Then we have the condition. It's j must be less than or equal to 10, and then we have this, the one that's run at the end of every iteration, I++. So print I, whoops, does the exact same thing. I thought, whoops, print I was wrong, print j, there we go. Those two are equivalent. I don't know which are. I don't think there's actually that much difference. But if we just comment this out. Whoops. I cannot see my keyboard really well because of my microphone. So if we do, I wonder if there's any difference we do this. No, it's actually the same. So it's there's no difference in that respect. As you can see, this always runs at last. Doesn't matter if we have at the end of the loop. Doesn't matter how we do it. Well, here we can actually specify if we want to do it before or after. Normally, while loops are used for stuff that take a long time, that have a specific end condition that has been met, or a variable that changes or something that is run inside a loop. It's really useful for that. For loops are good for iteration. Not really good for iteration really, but because we have other mechanisms for that, like the for each and all of those functions. You can look them up. They are specified somewhere on the interwebs. We can, if we look at an arrays again, or look at what's actually in the prototype, the functions that are attached to the array. We can do basically this, I think. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, I wonder what happens if we do that. Oops, print. Save. Nothing happens. We can't really print them that way. Anyway, back to topic. Now we talked about loops. There are different types of loops too. We will get into them when we get to them, but I just want to introduce you to the concept of loops and all of that. Now we're going to talk about the JavaScript object notation, the JSON notation. It is important to understand this at some level, because you will use it. You will absolutely use it. Whether you like it or not, you will use it. So we let my object. We can create a JavaScript object like this. Now we have the most primitive JavaScript object that uses the JSON notation. So if we print my object, we will get an object. And if we add stuff to it, let's say, also one thing to note is that the JavaScript object notation is more or less the same as a map. You map one object to another. If we say a name here, because we map a type of string like foo, and we map that to an object, which can be actually any type of object you want. We can have a bar, and then we end with a comma, as we did in the array 2. Between each item we end with a comma. So if we print it now, still get an object. Why can't we see the stuff in the object? Well, that's because it's a JavaScript object. You cannot really see what's in it, but we can do it if we are tricky enough. So let me add a few ball and hello, and we can have 1, 2, 3 mapped to 1, 2 fire, and we can have fire mapped to 1, 2, 3, and still no change really if we print that or not. My object. There we go. Doesn't really matter. We cannot see what's in it because which object is an object. A function is an object, but we're going to get to that later. Now we're going to, with this object we have here, we're going to have to add something to it. First things first. No, we're not going to list the things in it. So we do my obj dot for each. Then we have a function, and we take a key, and the key value is, we can print, if we print a key, a k here, we will get the key, not a function. Oh yeah, we don't have a for each in the object, of course, because that's specified for the arrays. Never mind. We are going to continue with something else here. So we are going to actually print the stuff in there. So what we can do is should have been a for each. It seems that we can iterate over each object like this. We're going to, let's see here, do that, and we can for let I equals to 0, I is less than my obj dot length, and we are going to I plus plus that. Whoops. So we're going to print, actually going to print my object index of that and see what we get. We get nothing. It's strange. Dot name. Nope. Okay, that didn't work out, so let's do it some other way. We're going to try something a bit more advanced. Oh yeah, for in. For let k in my obj, we are going to print k, and there we go, we get the keys. And now we're going to print the values, so we got my obj and we index of the key. Again, sorry for all the mistakes, but I can't really see my keyboard. So here we go. Now we have printed. First, the first time when we printed the k value directly, we got the first row, ball, foo, ball, 1, 2, 3, and fire, as you can see here. The second time we got, when we indexed the my objects for the key, the k value, we got the second row, or the second column here. That's how a map works. A map maps an object to a value, and you can actually make these really advanced. You can have functions, you can in them, you can have really anything. You can even have a map in a map in a map in a map, in arbitrarily deep. Well, there's a limit, of course, because you run out of memory one time or another, but other than that, really no, you don't really have any problems like that. Now we're going to go back to here, and we talked about JSON functions. We talked about functions a little bit. Now we're going to talk about a little more. So let's just comment this out. We don't have to deal with it. And function has, if you're going to understand the function, we must understand the function first. It's really not well, I can show you what a function does. Function foo, oops, function foo, and it just prints hello world. Oops. And it doesn't do anything. Why doesn't it do anything? Well, because we have to call the function. So we can call the function here. And what happens then? Hello world. That's interesting. So how do we so if we create a new function, then what happens then? Function bar, and it calls foo. What happens then? Nothing. Nothing strange happens. It's exactly the same. Bar, and we do this same thing, because now bar, you do the call to there, bar calls foo, and foo calls the print function. There's something we must understand about functions, is that they can also be constructors. So, but we're going to get into that another time. Because right now, I think we have basically not run out of time, but all the information you can get right now out of me. And next time, we're going to create our first little application, I hope. Because we learned the basics, and if we learn the basics, we can basically do anything. Basically. One more note on why we're using let and not var is because var, variable, is actually not garbage collected really well. It's persistent, more or less. Let is garbage collected, and basically you free up that memory when you don't need it. That's why I use let instead of var. Different JavaScript engines may behave differently, but the SpiderMonkey engine that GJS uses does not really garbage collect variables. So you can write over them, but you should really use let. That's the most sane thing to do. If you don't know what garbage collecting is, don't worry, because that's a story for another time. So, ta-ra and goodbye. Have a nice one.